Hi, it's Ronnie, and welcome to a Punched Out Thursday to Die For, where we all use our punches and our dies to create our layouts. And it is also Scraptember 2022, hosted by the Scrappy Sisters, Laura Alberts, and Christy's Beautiful Life. And if you'd like to check it out on Instagram, it's hashtag Scraptember 2022. And I'm going to scrap this picture of my niece and her family. And I'm going to use that die set right there that I haven't used before, although I've had it quite a while. And then the Diamond Press Alpha set and that stamp set. Debbie Pierce gave it to me for my birthday, and I so planned on using it. Y'all know how I like to layer in my mixed media. Well, that was going to be my top layer, which is normally stamps. And out of sight, out of mind, I put stuff on top of it, I guess, and totally missed it. But I am going to remember to use all those stencils. And since this is Scraptember, I will be doing some stitching, so I laid my thread over there on the side. I thought I'd put the mixed media down first, well, except for the splattering, because I didn't want to take time for it to dry. And I knew I'd want some on top of the flowers and stuff, so yeah, it's going to be the last, well, almost the last thing that goes on here. I am using that Scrap Treat radar die in 3 places, and then I'm using the Tim Holtz Faded Dots, and it's going to be in green, and the other one was in Wild Honey. And this is Bundle Sage. And I'm putting each thing in several places on the right-hand side. The left-hand side is going to have paper, so there wasn't any sense in doing any over there. It would get covered up. Oh, and when I was doing that first stencil on the radar, I accidentally went over the edge, so I had to add some ink. And then I just now added some of the green on there, and I'm inking the whole outside with Rusty Hinge. And I'm got another stencil to use, but it's one of those things out of sight, out of mind. But I will see it, and it will go on there before I am actually done with the layout. I started to go ahead and put this paper down, and then remembered my stitching, which is the prompt. And so I went ahead and poked the holes, because it's a whole lot easier stitching if you have the holes already poked in paper. And I'm just doing a back stitch on there, and that's all I'm going to put on there. I thought about doing another circle up at the top, a smaller one, but then I forgot about it. But that was my plan. I kind of failed on a few of my plans on this layout. If I didn't already have that circle drawn on here on this one, I might have forgot the stitching completely. The paper I'm using is break, Breaking Autumn. Maybe that's it. It's Cartabella. And there's where I remembered that stencil, but only because I saw it. I don't know. I guess I really need to quit watching videos while I am scrapping, but I really enjoy doing it, so I may never do it. That little silicone pad there, I have been wanting one of them for so long, and it was part of the birthday present that Debbie Pierce sent me, and I have used it I don't know how many times already. Not on screen. This is my first time on screen. But I have used it so many times because it's smaller and I can still have everything else there without moving everything out of the way for the times I don't need the big one. I am inking the flowers with the Wild Honey, and then the leaves with Ponderosa Pine from Close to My Heart. And the leaves, I'm just kind of putting it here and there. I'm not being perfect on them. I was pickier on the flowers, but not on the leaves. And the little brush that I'm using, I've had it for a long time and misplaced it. Yeah, it happens. And it was pretty close to where it belonged. It was one drawer down, but it was in a box in the one drawer down. These flowers are spellbinders, and before I purchased them, even though they were marked down and everything, I went to look to see what they were like. And the person who created the dies was using a stylus to make little lines. And if you noticed, at first I was pulling, no, I was pushing away from me with the stylus. And by the time I did two, I thought, oh, do I really want to do this? And then I looked at them and I thought, well, I really like them. So I went ahead and continued. And of course, I did extra on them because I already had them cut out. And you will notice at first I kind of pushed away though, and then I started pulling towards myself. And that was a lot easier on my thumb. The first two, even my thumb was hurting, and pulling towards myself was a whole lot better. And I started to do the leaves and changed my mind because, that's what the person who made the die did, and decided to run them through an embossing folder rather than me have to take and make lines right in the middle of all of those. She was only making like one. She already made a couple and she's putting three on a card. So I would link you all to it, but I think I seen it on Spellbinder's website. So if I find it, I'll put the link down there if it's a YouTube link. But I thought, I need to put my title on here. Well, I couldn't put it over the top of the stitching because these are die cut out and I didn't layer them. And so I decided to put them over to the right. And I didn't want them all the way to the edge. So I am making a smaller version of what is on the left. I will end up adding a border on the left and adding a small border on the right to make them both match. And it will match the title too. This tag here, I'm putting waxy flax from Close to My Heart there, and see how it just blends in. Oh my goodness, that didn't work. And I thought about outlining it like I did the one up there at the top that's laying there, pumpkin patch. You pick, and it's got hay and corn maze and stuff on there. Well, I changed my mind and decided just to make a bigger tag. So I am just making the tag and putting there, and it's going to go behind it. So this tag, the smaller one, will show up better. And at first I thought I was going to put them up at the top of the photo. So I cut the whole tag out. But then when I got ready to put it there, I thought maybe I want it lower with my cluster that's going to be there. So I have to cut a little of the tag off rather than pull up the whole photo. Well, not the whole photo, part of the photo to tuck it under. One good thing about that waxy flax is where you put it, it pretty much stays. I was looking at the photo and stuff, and I thought I really want something to go across here because I want to do another cluster to the right, and I want part of it to kind of blend in and be together down underneath the photo. So I put this piece of board with I think it's rivets in it, but I will cover up the rivets so you can't see it. Not on purpose because I do like them, but yeah, I am going to cover the rivet up. As soon as I put it on there, of course, I thought I need to ink it, so that's what I am doing. But my photo there is of Gracie and her mommy and daddy, and they went to a pumpkin patch. Well, it's pumpkin patch and it had sunflowers and I'm not sure what all. There's quite a few pictures, and I thought I'd go ahead and scrap this one to go with the other photos. And yeah, Gracie looks so cute holding that golden pumpkin. I mean, it's not very orange, so my flowers match it. Now, the center of the flower has this little comb-like thing, and you glue it and roll it around and around so that it has these little parts that you can kind of pull apart. And then it has little centerpieces underneath it that you kind of pull up to make everything go together, and it looks more like a lot of little stamens or something sticking up. I have a few other flowers with that, and generally I don't use it because they're bigger, the little thing you roll up. Well, this one's pretty small. I'm going to go ahead and roll it up and use it. And I have used them on cards, the bigger ones, ones that I don't plan on mailing, that I plan on handing out, which are most of my cards. But it worked pretty good on this because they're not up that high at all. And so I'm just trying to adjust everything, and the glue of course dries clear, so even if you see a little bit while I'm doing it, it will dry clear. But I put a little bit too much on a couple, I am sure, is what my problem was. I Oh, here's where I decide to go ahead and put the borders on there. And the really skinny one is a little bit wider on the bottom than it is on the top. But I figured I'm going to put a flower cluster down there anyway, and it won't be very noticeable. And it isn't. You can't hardly tell it because it wasn't a whole lot of difference. I just put end to end and measured as normal. But I'm not going to cut another one. It's so close that it won't be that noticeable. I'm kind of ruffling up the petals on the flowers. It has on the dies, both of the flower dies, one is bigger and one is smaller, to have two of the bigger ones and one of the smaller. Well, it's such a small amount smaller, it was hard to tell. I had them separated, and then all of a sudden, I'm not sure when it happened, they ended up together. So I did like a guessing thing. If I set it on there, it looked about the same, and it was the second one, it went on there. And if it looked smaller, it set over at the side to go on top. And I did put a couple of these on foam tape, but not, I think just two's all I put on foam tape. The others I didn't, so I'd have different levels. And then the greenery I'm going to just tuck right in there. And while I'm doing that, I want to mention that down there below is a playlist link. So all you have to do is click on it, and it will take you to the place that has all the videos, and they all will start showing up the day that they are set to be released. And so there won't be as many noticeable right now, but by the end of the month, there'll probably be hundreds on there. So plenty to choose from. And they will be using prompts all the days, but there will be 4 days with sketches, and they will be created by Christy, the Scrappy Sisters, and Laura. And this cluster up here, I used a scrap to put me a piece of board across there since I have one lower to kind of match that. And then I'm going to add my flower cluster up there and just kind of nestle it around my little sign thing up there. Of course, we know it's a label, but in my mind, I'm thinking it's a sign. I love it when I go someplace and they have a sign and flowers and greenery clustered around them. I'll be more apt to take a picture of the sign from my scrapbook if it has that, rather than one is just plain Jane entering, you know, city limits of so and so with nothing to go with it. So, yeah, that's what entered my mind when I saw the pumpkin patch up there. I decided to go ahead and, even though I didn't show the punch, add some of these little flowers. I love that little punch. I don't know what I'm going to do if it ever quits working, but the paper I pulled out, I wanted it lighter. I didn't want to match the other flowers. So I got some cream cardstock that I've had forever. And it just amazes me sometimes how thin that cardstock was back then. I bought like maybe 20, 30 or something like that from the local store when I got them, and they're 8.5 by 11s. And so when I go to bend the flowers up, they just bent like crazy. I had to be pretty careful. I just wanted them to kind of curl up a little bit instead of laying flat. And it was surprisingly thin, especially after making the other flowers, because those are made out of either spellbinders or Stampin' Up's cardstock, one or the other. I can't remember which one I got them from, but they're 8.5 by 11 too. His house the other day, and she was asleep when I got there. Well, she woke up and she had a pull up on, and I said, "You got Mickey Mouse on?" And my niece said, "Yeah, her daddy got the wrong one." He said, "I told him Minnie Mouse, and he seen it and thought it's because it's purple box," is what she said. He thought it was the right one and grabbed it. And then she had to get her little rain boots on right away. I mean, she had to have them on. So here she is in a diaper and rain boots outside playing. And yeah, she had to have those rain boots. They are cute though. And you know, I didn't think of taking a picture. Not once. I was busy watching her and talking to her and all that stuff, and did not think of taking no photo. I cannot believe how horrible I am at that. I literally have to have a camera hanging on my neck before I think of it. I do not think of my phone. But while I'm finishing off the layout here, I want to mention also that it is a Punched Out Thursday to die for. So the links for everybody that's using their punches and or dies will be down there below too. And I think I am done. Except I am going to add a chipboard piece before the photos. When I go to take the photos, I will see the chipboard laying over to the right, and I will pull one out and put it below the photo next to the right hand cluster. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this layout, and I like doing it with the font too. The prompt too. And yeah, that's more the correct word. They sure are close though. Um, but there's my complete layout with the little chipboard love down there with that right hand flower cluster. And this is the bottom cluster. And see, it does have 3 layers on the flower, so it does make it look really pretty. And those little tiny flowers, of course, look cute on there. I just love that punch. I just can't mention that enough. But if you leave a comment down there below, I'll try to get back with you. And if you like the video and hit a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. And those who already are, thank you so very much. But I hope you all have fun on the hop and try the prompts out and see what you can do with them. And check out the Punched Out Thursday to Die For gals and see what they created this week. And have a happy scrappy week. Bye.